Hello! Today, we continue our exploration of Flutter, and the topic of our lesson is the stack widget and images. Let's start with stack. In Flutter, widgets are usually placed one after another, either top to bottom or left to right, similar to a list. But what if we need to overlay one element on top of another? This is where the stack widget comes into play. Let's begin with a simple example. We'll create a stack centered on the screen. The main parameter of stack is children, which takes a list of widgets. Stack places each of these elements on top of one another in the order they are listed in the code. Let's write a simple container, give it some dimensions and color. Then, inside our stack, we'll add another container, which will be smaller and have a different color. When we run the code, we see that one container is overlaid on top of the other. We notice that the second element is positioned in the top left corner of the first container. But what if we want to manually set its position? For this, we can use the positioned widget, which is used to position elements within a stack. Positioned has several named parameters, such as top, bottom, left, right, etc. Let's, for example, set bottom to 10 and right to 20. This way, our container will have margins from the bottom and right edges of the stack. Now, let's take a look at the alignment parameter of our stack. This parameter allows us to set the default positioning of elements within the stack. It is of type alignment geometry. This class is abstract, so we can use its subclass alignment, which has static fields for setting values. For instance, let's remove the positioned widget and set the alignment of our stack to center. As we can see, now our second element is centered. Let's add one more element and set its position using positioned. Let's give it margins of 40 from the bottom and right. Thus, we now have a stack with 3 elements that are overlaid on top of each other. Now, you know how the stack widget works in Flutter and how you can use it to create complex and interesting interfaces. Next, let's move on to images. In Flutter, we can place images in the interface just like regular widgets. Let's start with a simple image. To use our image, let's create a new folder in the project directory for images. You can name it whatever you like, but it's usually called Assets. Now, move your image into this folder. To be able to use images from our Assets folder, we need to modify the pubspec.yaml file. Pubspec.yaml is an important configuration file in Dart and Flutter projects. It is used to define dependencies, settings, and metadata for your project. In this case, we need to go to the Flutter section and find the Assets parameter. In a new project, it will be commented out by default, which means it will be ignored. Let's uncomment it by removing the hash symbol. Next, we need to specify the folders where our resources are located. This is done with a dash. This tells Flutter that we have a folder with resources that we can use. Let's now create a simple widget with an image. For this, we have the image widget. This class has several named constructors such as asset, file, network, and memory. For now, we need the asset constructor. It takes many named parameters and one mandatory positional parameter of type string, which specifies the path to the image. Let's pass the path to our image. We need to specify the folder name, file name, and extension. For our configuration changes to take effect, we need to restart the application. Now we see our image in our app. Let's explore some other parameters of the image widget. First, there's width and height. Let's make our image square by setting both width and height to 200. But as we can see, the image hasn't become square. The issue is that we need to specify the fit parameter to indicate how our image should be stretched. This parameter is of type boxFit, which is an enum. By default, it's set to contain. This means that the image will try to fill the available space while maintaining its proportions. Let's try passing fill as the fit value. Now, our image stretches completely across the available space, ignoring proportions. The next value is cover. With this, we can maintain proportions while ensuring the image scales to fill the entire space. Part of the image may be cropped in the process. Next, there's fit width. This scales the image so that its width completely fills the available space while maintaining the image's proportions. This means the image might be cropped vertically if it doesn't match the container's height. In addition to fit width, we have fit height. This scales the image so that its height completely fills the available space while maintaining proportions. This means the image might be cropped horizontally if it doesn't match the container's width. Now, let's move on to another named constructor of the image widget, specifically network. Besides images from local files, you can load images from the internet. Note that it has almost the same parameters, but the first parameter this time is a URL to the image online, not the path to a local file. Let's pass a URL to an image. As you can see, everything works. Congratulations! You now know how to work with the Stack widget and images in Flutter. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel to stay updated on new lessons. See you in the next video.